wonderful place. My first trip was to photograph a falcon nest in March of 2020. So the pandemic hit and everything's shutting down and we're not sure what's happening. And I said to myself, should I take a trip in my truck and risk this? I don't even know if, gas stations will close. Things were starting to close, restaurants were closing. So I loaded all my food, I took extra gas. I figured, well, if I'm out on the side of the cliff, I'll probably be fine and socially distanced. And this is the face of wildlife photographers today. They're masked up. Everybody's got a big zoom lens. And interestingly enough, for this old timer in photography, no tripods. So my first trip back in March, the peregrine falcon nesting on the cliff. And throughout the evening, we're going to intersperse some tips that I like to use and incorporate. Hopefully will help. Some will be new, some will be repeats for some of you, and some of the things that I shoot for when I'm out in the wilds. And I love to take a picture that tells a story. So storytelling. I'm a storyteller, do a lot of writing, and love to tell stories. Well, with the peregrine falcon, the fastest animal on the planet, the first picture I had to get was in flight, heading down, wings somewhat tucked. Got to get that picture. So one picture can tell a story, but then I'm trying to get a story that incorporates a whole life cycle in this case. Get the falcon hunting, get the falcon eating, get the falcon protecting its nest. This isn't a very good picture, but it's just, I've never seen a raven so scared in my life. Peregrine's coming at him and he's like going, OMG, what did I do? I mean, that look on that poor guy. He did escape. Peregrine was just trying to scare him away, not catching dinner. So I went back down a couple months later as the babies left the nest, the fledglings left the nest. And I found that one of the better ways to help tell my stories is to add little video clips. Mm-hmm. And here it's quite windy, peregrine on the side of the cliff with the ocean behind him.
Jeff, I missed where this was at.
Down in the LA area.
Okay. These are incredible.
Wow.
Thank you. And so March 2020, things are hitting the fan. I made it home safely. I didn't even need to use the gas in my cans. The gas station stayed open. And I survived without getting COVID. And so I'm thinking, well, this might be doable. Well, in the process, the house in Millville sold. So the house in Brookings here in Oregon, where I am tonight, it's like time to make the move. School closed down, things are closing down. We had time. So we started packing things up and heading up to the coast in several U-Haul loads. At the same time, I decided it was time to be a full-time wildlife photographer. A lot of things happening during that COVID year for me. One thing that I like to emphasize is how important our backgrounds are. So I'm always looking at the background. I'm always paying attention. What can I do to make the background better? Even before I'm putting my eye to the camera, I'm looking at the scene to try to find the background. Now we've all taken a picture of this tree. We call it Frank's tree now. This was right down the street from my house in Millville, and always looking for backgrounds with that tree. We have all done it, looking for the great skies. I had to say goodbye to that Millville quote unquote backyard of mine within just a couple minutes. And one thing where we lived was a wildflower reserve. It was my own property, but it was in the middle of Millville Plains where some fantastic flowers are. So I spent March, April moving, finishing up school, and working on photos from that old neighborhood and the new neighborhood. So looking at backgrounds, I love using the long lens. I have a 500 that I use for everything. And it really makes the background fuzzy and it helps the subject stand out. In this case, the lupin behind there. I love the diagonal of the pop coming up from the bottom corner towards the top right corner. And then just the uniqueness of the sepal of the California poppy. One sepal that comes off from the top is so unique. Really a storytelling picture for those of us who love flowers. So looking at a background, I'm getting the tripod down to the position. I see this diagonal of the top of the purple lupins behind in fuzzy, out of focus blur. I see the green grass behind it. I know the 500 f4 is just going to blow that out to a beautiful smooth green. I line up the stem with that greenish middle, less purple spot, and put the base of the poppy right where the top of that lupin is. Things I'm always looking for with wildlife, nature, flowers, whatever. This was the old backyard saying goodbye. The new backyard, a lot more gray skies up here than I'm used to down in Redding. So I had this cooperative white-crowned sparrow in our backyard singing like crazy. And so I started to work with that. Anytime I get a cooperative subject, I have an opportunity to work the backgrounds, work the perches, change the perches out, and always, looking for something new and exciting. So my favorite pictures were when he'd throw his head back and just sing like there's no tomorrow. And then I tried to find the backgrounds that I liked the best. I had a fence post. So yeah, I get a little closer, but I don't know if I'm quite as fond of that. But the cool thing about watching backgrounds is it doesn't take to change the background. In this case, I looked over and my neighbor's front yard had an interesting flag that I thought I could line up with the bird. So 5 to 10 steps to my left, and I lined up this background.
Wow.
Which, this is my favorite of them all. This one got used for a calendar for July for this year. Just that perfect background lined up. Well, in May, I got word that this bear, they name her 399, and she's in Grand Teton area, came out of her den for the 25th year and had 4 new cub of the years. And so when that news came out and it coincided with my Costa Rica trip being canceled, June 2020, I decided, well, maybe I can do that socially distanced trip through Teton and Yellowstone in early June. She is world famous. And spending 2 weeks with her, I'll talk more about it down the road here. But that started to kick in mid-May when she came out. Then I was chomping at the bit to get back there to see her. Off my front yard, the full moon. Don't you just love nature? I mean, the beauty all around us. And part of it for me is being in beauty and always looking for beauty, because I'm trying to find pictures that are beautiful in my mind. And looking for that beauty, I've learned over the years, is a mindset. It's a mindset that's very positive and happy. And when I'm in nature with my camera, it really is a happy, healing place for me. And if you look around 4 o'clock down there on the moon, kind of towards the bottom, you can see that giant crater, the Tycho crater, named after Tycho. Look at that amazing crater. And for me, the moon has special meaning because wherever I am in the world, I look at that moon, it's the same moon that you're looking at that night, the same moon my wife's looking at that night. It connects me, it grounds me in a sense. Needing to get rid of distractions, eliminating things from the picture to help simplify the image. But then I'm looking always to add these elements like that flag background. In this case, can I call it Frank's tree? I think everybody else does, right? Mm-hmm. Why not get there at sunrise, get that little sunrise behind the tree, line up Mount Lassen. We all do it. adding elements, keeping the rest of the image as simple as possible. Oregon coast, big wave crashing, but it doesn't look big until you see the element I added in the top right corner there, the people looking at it. It just gives it a sense of, holy cow, that's a big wave. And it really adds to the photo for me. Adding elements with video, you can get movement and sound. Another element.
Right.
Movement and sound, just a little help there. I love the California sea lions. I've been to this spot in Crescent City many times. I've only seen them piled up like this once. In fact, I was there on Monday, yesterday, and they weren't there. So it's like, I keep looking, maybe I'll get another try. But in a case like this, where they aren't social distancing, they aren't getting the memo, I'm looking about thinking depth of field. So F16, I'm getting, a good amount in focus here from the one in close, all the way back. And so, of course, with that, as we know, the shutter speed slow down. You can see a little blur movement right above his nose there. The two are tied together. Here it is at F4. Basically, really helps to isolate just the nose and the guy flippers around him. Everything else goes into blur. I like them both. They both tell a different story. I'm shooting them both. And when I have a cooperative subject like this, I'm shooting depth of field. I'm shooting wide open in the 500 F4. It's F4. And I try to go as low as I can on the ISO to eliminate as much, grain in the old days. Now it's pixelation, I guess. So shoot a vertical, shoot a lot of horizontals. Seems like verticals don't fit the social media platform, like on Instagram. Maybe it's me being old fashioned. I haven't figured out how the vertical, you have to they crop it into a square, I guess. And so horizontals seem to fit better on that. Facebook, you can get some verticals in there once in a while. But just, I still think and work with magazines. So the covers, usually a vertical. And so I'm trying to do all that when I have a cooperative subject.
Aw.
Good depth of field again, just kind of fun. And this one, I really like the toenails. Mm-hmm. Right above the nose, the second face there, you can see the flipper and you can see the toenails sticking out up. They're not at the end like yours are, mine are. They're up like that. I call this learning through the lens. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But as I'm photographing, I'm trying to get the shot. When I get home, I'll look at things like this and realize, oh yeah, look at that. This is my favorite kind of juxtaposition. I love how the lines and all the angles and diagonals lined up and kept it simple with the one whisker and the head right behind him. I think a lot of people, including me, think of myself as someone who likes to shoot tight action, interaction. Of course, that is my favorite bread and butter stuff. But a lot of people might not realize that I try to shoot loose, meaning give space around the subject. And this Clark's grebe swimming on the Tule Lake would be kind of small in the image, but when it raises up to flap its wings, it helps to fill the frame. And I'm not so close that I crop the wingtips off. So shooting loose when I can't always because I use my 500 a lot. And some of the bears, I was a little too close for that. But in this case, it works nicely. Shooting loose gives a couple other really advantageous opportunities. One, I mentioned, if they do raise up and do something, you don't cut a wing off. Two, when they're farther away, when your subject's farther away from your big lens, you can follow focus. So if they're moving a lot, it's easier to stay on focus point because the front end of your lens doesn't have to move as much as if the animal is in quite a bit closer. It's just kind of like physics. You know, the closer in something is, it goes by you quicker. A car doing 100 right in front of you, you don't even see it. A car doing 100 out in the distance, you could follow it with your lens. So same idea, helps track. But I do love the close-up stuff. I like to shoot it all. Another thing, you know, with today's technology, even with technology in the 80s, when I had motor drives and things, I was always looking for the peak moment. Today we can shoot, you know, 20 frames a second, and it seems like we don't think as much about peak moments. We just push the shutter. So I do like to push the shutter, don't get me wrong, but I'm always looking for the peak moment. So when I'm watching and, you know, getting the background right, get everything lined up, and I have a Horser's turn hovering, and it gives me a second chance, it's hovering again, then I can line things up and wait for that peak moment of the wings being just angelic, the tail flared out like that. And I do have quite a few that didn't work like this. You know, don't get me wrong, that's why we shoot a bunch, right? Long lenses, backgrounds, peak of motion. I like the wings up most of the time. Birds fly. I like to try to get them flying. Love how his tail wrapped around the reed as he left. Get them opening their mouth. Now, using a tripod helps for this kind of thing. You know, you can keep you've probably all experienced just looking at a bird and it's just standing there in the water, not doing anything. You take a couple pictures, but then if you are able to hold still with your tripod and your camera balanced, when it does open its mouth to yawn, you're ready to hit the button. And so I really try to use my tripod in those situations. Peak moment, bird landing. Never seen that one before. Photographed a lot of grebes, but these two weren't happy with one another. So how we doing? Everybody hearing me okay? And we're all good? Everybody still awake?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
You guys see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you do see me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna stay alert. I can't take my, can't put my PJs on yet.
Not yet.
Sure you can. Yeah.
I do have my slippers on. So good time. If anybody wants to ask a question or say something, this is a good time. Just kind of doing a little review here. Tips, telling stories. Can do it in every picture. Can do it in a series of pictures. Writing articles for magazines and books and things. A number of pictures helps. Looking for the background. Sometimes it only takes moving. I mean, there's certain cases where I've just moved a few inches. And it makes all the difference in the world, looking for that cleaner background. When the subject's cooperative, stay with it. Don't just take the shot of it standing in the water, wait for it to open its mouth. Adding elements, distracting elements, get rid of, but adding elements that are going to make it even better. Looking for those peak moments, learning through the lens, knowing when those peak moments are going to happen and what those peak moments might be. Long lenses, yeah. Depth of field, of course, it affects shutter speed and ISO. Shoot loose. And the next one is learning through the lens, which I think is my favorite. I think it's part of why I do what I do. Pretty funny little muskrats.
Oh my.
Have many of you gotten to go to McNeil River Falls?
That's on the list.
Yeah.
Has anybody gotten to go there yet?
Where?
Yes?
Where? I didn't hear.
McNeil River up in Alaska, where these bears are fishing?
No.
Okay.
Is that Cat?
Go ahead.
Is that Katmai?
Yeah, it's in Katmai National Park.
Okay.
It's on the list.
Yeah, good.
Oh, yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's well worth worth the list. This picture, this classic picture, if you haven't seen it, matter of fact, Tom Mangelson kind of gets credited for being the first guy that made it famous, of the grizzly bear standing at the top of the waterfall with the salmon about to jump in its mouth. So if you haven't seen that picture, or if you have, you know what I'm talking about. This is where he took it back in the 80s when he was shooting film. And so to get to go there, in there, but I've known about it for over 40 years. And watching these bears fishing like this and learning through the lens and watching how so many bears fish differently, almost individual fishing techniques. And when I came back from this particular trip, which was mid-August, I had a request from Ranger Rick magazine. They're doing an article on the sockeye salmon, which is a world record run, over 50 million sockeye salmon in the watershed. And so part of the request included bears feeding on sockeye salmon. So I sent in stills and I sent in some video clips. So the photo editor bought this video clip, and she just called me last week and said, "Hey, I want to use your video clip." And she said, the reason I like it, after looking at all the bear pictures everybody sent me and the videos, was this one. She said, for kids, Ranger Rick, she said, with that bear in the back eating a fish, kind of like it's eating a popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy in the front, where they're just all jumping right, million fish jumping past him, and he just kind of looking around like, now what do I do? She said she just thought it was really cute and funny, and the kids would like it. Being an ethologist, the study of animal behavior, that's what a wildlife photographer really is. That's what I really am.
Hello, girl.
And I learned when I was in Teton, finally got to go. Now we're in June 2020. I learned that getting all 4 of the new cubs, the koi cub of the year, in the same picture is not easy, because they are quite like toddlers and they're running all over the place. So I found that to be extremely difficult. And then to try to get all 4 or most of all 4 kind of looking in the correct direction was even harder. But I decided I would go there just to work on these guys. And I spent better part of 2 weeks following them around. And there were days when I never took a picture. And there were days, maybe 3 days, where I had 5-minute, yay, this is amazing. And far and few between, but those amazing times gave me some good photo opportunities. So I finally made it to Teton mid-June 2020. And this is the first thing I saw, to the family coming up through the hill. I'm driving. I just got there in the evening, and here's 2 cubs coming up towards me and the road, and they crossed right in front of me. I mean, I hadn't even been there 20 minutes. It's like, am I lucky or what? Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
And it's not a picture where it's like, well, gosh, they're on the road and the highway. And 15, 20 years ago, I would have not liked it. But today I think differently. It tells a story. And this is an important story of the bears and the wildlife in our national parks, particularly Yellowstone and Teton. The roadways are corridors for the animals. They're corridors for us driving, and they're danger zones. But the traffic had stopped. I love the curve of the yellow line, and the three of the cubs are kind of in this picture. So that was my first evening. And then here she comes. This is 399, the famous matriarch of the park that has oogled people for many years. I just love those claws.
And Jeff, and so this was when you just got there, you got this shot?
Yeah, I pulled into the park, and I got a little word that they had seen 399 up in this vicinity. So I beelined straight to that vicinity, and they were on the move. Most of the traffic at the time I got there was around the corner. If you keep going where these cars are going, about a quarter mile around the corner. And so I was coming the other direction, and I was coming towards us, and I saw the bears down to the right. So I just pulled over where nobody was and waited, because they were heading my way. That's kind of another thing. People like to chase things. I like to get in front and know where they're going to be. And so it worked out great. I love the claws. I love the juxtaposition of all 4 claws on the feet. I think the asphalt helps show them off.
Mm-hmm.
I just love her smile. and her greeting. It's like, hey, welcome to my domain, Jeff. It's like, yeah. Not easy to get all 4 of them looking at you.
Wow.
They are so cute.
How adorable.
They are adorable. And I am a baby guy.
Yeah, so cute.
I met interesting people because I'm not the only one there. This place is teeming with 399 lovers. And this is Doug Monson. He is, I just met him this day. He was out. This is like right around the corner the next day from where I just showed you. I came back the next day. They were hanging out in the same area. And he's got his easel out. And the bears are off to our left in this picture. And he's not really looking at the bears out in the, he's painting out in the field to draw attention. He was painting this family portrait and then donating it to the cause. And so there was other artists in the park doing something similar. And it was like a fundraiser, and people would be drawn to their artwork and then hopefully bid on it and help give back to the community. So we've kind of become friendly on Facebook. I've seen him a couple times when I've been back there, and just a real nice guy and a great artist. And so he's lucky enough, he can put all 4 in a picture anytime he wants.
Oh,
Action and interaction.
Hey, Jeff, is that Pilgrim Creek area?
This is, this would be more like, this is kind of that area I've been showing you, which that the first night and then the second day they were hanging out here. And
Right.
it's right around the Moran Overlook, which is
Okay.
quite a way south of Pilgrim Creek.
Yeah, I know where you're at. She sure is one beauty.
Look at that, man.
Yeah.
What a beauty. Now, a lot of the biologists and experts of the area say that they think she hangs around the people in the roads for protection, because the
Yep.
biggest threat to newborn cubs are the big males.
Yeah.
And so that's one theory that a lot of people believe. She's quite tolerant. And there's my moon. Grounds me, reminds me, hey, this, everybody's looking at this tonight. My friends around the world, my wife back home, all is good. Notice the Tycho crater is about 8 o'clock, the bottom section here, just a little different angle, but it's always pointed towards us.
99.
This is the real look at what it's like there. You've got the rangers out when they're near the road, like they were for those 2 days, attracting quite a crowd. They had rangers and cones and everything set up. But you can work around it and wait and wait and wait. Speaking of Tom Mangelson, he was standing next to me this evening. We were photographing as they were coming up through this section. Same area. So this is the next day. They stayed in this little area for the whole next day. And they only got close enough for pictures for maybe 20 minutes of the whole day.
Chris?
They're all wet, it's like, oh, who wants to go out in the rain? But golly, I kind of like it.
so cute.
Look at that guy.
And I had another opportunity where they were able to get pictures of them. And this is also south of Pilgrim Creek, down heading south towards the Moran turnout overlook.
Cool shot.
Thank you.
Oh,
Every once in a while, they give you the opportunity for a scenic.
Mm-hmm.
very cool.
And it doesn't matter where you look in Teton, it's a special place. I did hope for a bear walking through here, but it never happened. Okay, Jeff, enough bears.
Yeah, how cute.
We can barely stand it. Come on, Jeff, this is unbearable. Sorry.
Isn't that the runt one?
I don't know. There was one that they called the runt.
Uh-huh.
I don't know from just looking
It
at
looked
it.
like his expressions.
Probably was. So asking ourselves, what's our why? Why do we take pictures? Why do we do it? We all have a similar but different reason, and they're all valid. They all come down, for me, talking to people, they all come down to, happiness, fun, capturing incredible moments of nature that not everybody gets to see, like watching your own National Geographic channel. Seeing a brown pelican with his mouth full. Mom would have told him to close his mouth when he was eating. His nictitating membrane half closed. I just love these little nuances.
Oh,
Backlighting works well, knowing that they pouch as well as their wings. My backyard, if you will. Now, I do cheat,
Ah,
and it's the new normal. So in Lightroom, when I bring everything in, I check it for exposure, color correction if needed, and I'll do some cropping. Now this picture, I love photographing the shorebirds on the Northern California, Southern Oregon coast. And these guys almost lined up perfect. I'm looking at this picture, I'm going, man, that one guy with his wing or left kind of blocking the other guy, I wish he wasn't there. I think that composition would really be cool. And so, it's cheating? I don't know, but I like this picture.
it's
I
the,
don't feel bad about it.
No, wow, that's cool.
I come from the 80s when we shot film and we couldn't do this kind of stuff. So I still feel like, I don't need to feel guilty anymore about it. I can do this. This is what digital photography is. So, that why it's just in me. And it's also that piece that I mentioned earlier where there's a mental health part to it, where I'm in the zone, I'm in the moment, and nothing else matters, and I'm looking for beauty. And when you have a mindset like that, sometimes I have to get off the couch to go get it. It's okay. It could be down in the front yard or not. It's a good place to be. Well, then July rolls around. Shoot, this has been 5 months. And Comet Neowise and Frank Tona, the other Frank, it's like, hey man, this is a pretty cool comet. So I hiked up above Castle Lake to get a clear sky view of Comet Neowise, spent the night in nature,
Freezing.
woke up with Mount Shasta and the comet setting.
very cool.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments, questions at this point? Fire away. We're a small, just to review, telling those stories, backgrounds, working the subject, peak moments, adding elements, getting rid of distracting elements, using the long lenses, depth of field, shooting loose, learning through the lens, become an ethologist, and think about what your why is. Anybody want to share their why? No brave souls yet? Maybe by the end. What's that song? Girls just wanna have. I'm not a very good singer, otherwise I'd sing it, but don't we want to just have fun? Isn't that part of it?
Yeah.
And just the love of it. I love it. Gotta heart it. Something I'd wanted to do for my entire career was take a trip to Yellowstone in the fall. Never gotten to do that being a teacher. And so, I'm starting to realize that you don't always need to use a tripod. With today's camera equipment, the lightweightness of it, the high shutter speed availability of it to hand hold things. I had to take it off the tripod to follow this coyote around. But I do like to use my tripod as most of the time. And when I'm in a situation like this where the elk's not going anywhere and the bear's not either, I just had my tripod set up in the same spot in the mud for 7 days, sun up to sundown. And having everything pointed in the right direction, I could take a break when the bear was sleeping and doing nothing. It's kind of interesting, something I learned through the lens here. This elk was now into its second day and it started to bloat. and the bear stood on its stomach, and you can kind of see, I don't know, it's down at the bottom there, if you can see the bubbles coming out by the elk's eye. It was pushing the air out, causing the bubbles. Sorry, that's a little TMI, but
Wow.
cool for me. And then some of my favorite photos were when the bear kind of walked up the side of the hill and just kind of did his own thing and got away from the dead elk. And having the tripod pointing in the right direction and being ready all the time. And a lot of people didn't, which is fine. You can do it any way you want. But I think some of them missed a few of the shots that came just for fleeting seconds that ended up being some of my favorite shots. Rolled over and yawned real quick. So I'm using my tripod less and less. And I've decided that when something's happening quick, I got to get the shot, whether I have a tripod handy or not. And if I have a little more time, then I'm going to try to always set my tripod up. So are they out of date? Yeah, it seems like it, but. So that dream trip, fall in Yellowstone. I've been wanting to go there for 40 years, and finally I got to do it in 2020. So I spent most of September and first half of October and just Yellowstone, Grand Teton area. Didn't see the bears as frequently, but I saw plenty of other beauty around me. And dang it, dust spots. You hate it. So don't forget to get rid of those. That's not cheating. Crop those babies out. We just got to pay attention to them and try to see them so we can get rid of them. But what a spectacular place to be at first thing in the morning with a little dusting snow on top. All in Yellowstone.
Oh, you lucky.
Oh, man.
Lucky.
Yeah, let me tell you about the luck.
Yeah, that's better.
You know, it's kind of like you make your luck.
Uh-uh.
So there were some great gray owls hanging around in this area. And I went up there a couple times in June and couldn't find them. And so when I went back in October, I went up there a couple times and checked on them. I spent 2 days walking, waiting, walking, no luck. Then I was down to my last 2 days of the trip, which was mid-ish October. And I go, okay, I want a great gray owl picture. I've been pretty lucky with a lot of other things. And so my last or second to last day, all day, same thing, walking, waiting. I did get pictures as a bison walked by me, an elk walked by me. You got to see a weasel. I mean, when you're in the same spot like that, it works out sometimes for photos, but not the great gray. My last day, I'm driving in to the park from the back of my truck, camping spot, and these guys were right there.
Wow.
Talk about lucky.
Yeah.
And
No collar. That's even better.
yeah, I know. He's got the needles, the pine needles on his fur, like he'd just woken up, like he'd been rubbing in his dogs do into something gross and dead. There was about 4 of them in this pack four that I saw out of the pack. So then I got to this spot where the owls had been hanging out, and but not really a snipe hunt for me. And I waited all day, and I walked around, and I'm like, oh well. I gave it the old college try. I guess I didn't get lucky this time. And I walked out into this one little meadow because they do like to hunt around meadows. So I've been walking between like 3 meadows, 4 meadows, kind of waiting, walking, waiting, watching. And I was like, okay, I'm done. And I'm walking back to the truck, and I look up, and here's the great gray owl. So yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah.
But I worked hard for it. That guy I got lucky on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
I was able to socially distance the back of my truck. Worked out good. So how are we doing on time?
Doing fine, Jeff.
Because we have a contest to do, and Debbie asked me to talk a little bit about Costa Rica, which I can probably do in 10, 15 minutes.
That's great.
You can have all night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ready to say goodbye. So
Well, there is a Red Sox game on. How they doing? Heather, how are the Red Sox doing?
She's off.
No, I
We
was
lost her?
muted. I was
All right.
muted. They're winning 4-1.
Oh, there you are. The Red Sox are
Ahead, 4-1.
Congratulations. Okay. Crossing our fingers there for you. Yeah, I am a Giants fan, but I appreciate you doing both.
Thank you.
for
I
sure.
love this.
Thank you. And the trip in June of 2020 was canceled thanks to COVID, but the trip in 2021 wasn't. Everybody was vaccinated. Things started opening back up. And so I was able to get the Costa Rica trip. My wife and I went for about 2 weeks almost in June. So I highly recommend, if you're going to travel out of the country anytime soon in the next couple of years, or anytime really, check out the government website that talks about rules and regulations for getting into other countries, what permits, visas, passports you need. And really going to Costa Rica was fairly simple questionnaire kind of things to get there. But coming home,
Ugh.
well, you needed to have the swab test. So the United States, coming back to the United States, was a little more strict. They didn't even care that we had been vaccinated. They wanted to make sure we had the test. So you got to know what's needed before you can get there. And a lot of the airlines now aren't even, they're checking before you even get on at the airplane to make sure you've got all the paperwork you need. But it's fairly easy. Things have opened up, so hopefully they'll continue to continue working. But the red-eyed tree frog and all the color and the colorful critters that live in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a small country, very biodiverse and rich, but it's got a whole lot of different habitats and biomes. It goes from the ocean, the humid ocean, all the way up into the cloud forests. So a lot of diversity of animals in their environmental ecosystems. So this curacao was coming in, and I was, trying to get a picture of the whole bird, and I got a little too close. And I just love these birds. And he had his head feathers erect, tail striped and everything. It's just like, what a spectacular bird.
Yeah.
But I cropped the tail. It's like, dang it. I wish I had a 400 or a zoom lens. But one thing I'll do in this case is I'll say, well, I don't really like clipping the tails like that. I mean, it's okay. I can deal with it. But what really do I like here? So I'll actually in Lightroom crop it to this. So I'm cheating.
Mm-hmm.
You can crop. And when you have the quality equipment that they have out there today at a very low price, we're able to do this kind of thing. And it's another boon to wildlife photography. Where shooting film, I wouldn't have ever been able to do this kind of cropping. But their hummingbirds are numerous, colorful, spectacular, as are ours, but they have way more than we do. We all love the toucans. I ate Fruit Loops when I was a kid, so I have a special affinity for the Fruit Loops toucan, keel-billed toucan. I had the tripod. He was standing on this perch, bird on a stick. And so I'm waiting, hoping something will happen. And he yawns. Look at that tongue and the groove and the color and the bill. Wow. And if he flies, you're ready.
Pretty.
Night photography is fun. And it's good to have in places like this where you're not as familiar to have a guide. So I like to have a guide that knows the animals really well. That's very important. Maybe even speaks English a little bit if you don't speak their language. And what's really helpful in a guide is to have some photography knowledge, or if they've guided photographers before. So you kind of know what you're looking for, and they can kind of, understand when you say, no, I need to be over here. I'm looking, at this angle. I want that background, this kind of lighting. Well, at night, it's all about flash. So they have some unique critters, including walking sticks. They have really beautiful macaws. The great green is an endangered macaw, and the scarlet macaw The spectacularly colored birds feeding in the wild on some berries, and very approachable, very cooperative subject. Pretty fortunate. Now here's a situation where we can kind of see the background. And so if you're looking at the background here, and of course your eyeballs are going to see that in focus, but when you have used a 500 f4 for 30 years, I see my life and the world around me through that little rectangle. And down below its beak, you see the little blue circular pattern there. And so I'm paying attention to little patterns like that, little colors. In this case, the macaw's got his head up above that in the green still. So the blue kind of mirrors the white on his face. The quadrimundis, we have these in the US too. They're big old long tails. Just work your subject when they're gonna be cooperative. I had a lot of fun following these cuties around. Also, guides are going to be able to locate stuff better than we are. Walking around, you know, I feel that I'm very good at finding things in my own neck of the woods, but in Costa Rica, I walk by stuff and their guides are like going, look over here. So it's really helpful to have guides that are really interested in their land and their habitat and sharing it with others. So it's really fun to have a guide. This is the blue jeans frog. A lot of the places in Costa Rica and a lot of the eco lodges around the world cater to you know, bird watchers or wildlife photographers, and often they'll have feeders. You can go to Costa Rica on your own, and there's a lot of great lodges that you could just, for 2 or 3 days. I like to do 2 or 3 days in one area, get to know it, get to know the animals, and get some good photos before I move on to another one. So you don't really need a guide in Costa Rica. You could go to the places where they have feeders set up, and they have guides on site. Sometimes it'll be part of your deal, or you could hire just for, you know, an extra hike. And so it's really helpful. The king vulture was a bird that I was after. They're just a spectacular vulture, very large, almost twice as big as our turkey vulture. The color
Wow.
is something I saw in college when I studied ornithology, and it's one of those, there's a lot of them actually, but it's one of those birds that's like, I want to see that someday. And so very fortunate to find the king vulture cooperative. And they're so loving. Now that is a loving partnership. Look at that. Love it. I love how the top beak gets down into the layers of the other one's facial folds. Look at that. This is cool. And the other one's got its nictitating membrane closed. Okay, I got to protect my eyes just in case, you know, he's not a real good aim with that beak. That's amazing. Nature's amazing. But there's the black vulture in comparison. They're similar to our turkey vulture. They live in the United States, southern United States also. And some of the feeders, if you put your feeder food like up above the perches, then the birds fly up. And so you can anticipate and get photos as the bird's flying to the food. Or you can put the food off to the side and get them landing on the perch, but then time it and get them flying off the perch. So all these little tricks that you can. Now, talking about backgrounds and what I'm doing when I'm taking a picture. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm excited. I get to see a howler monkey with a baby and some photo bombing goofball on the back. And I'm like going, okay, so the picture here for me is the mom and the baby. I do love babies and interaction. But that leaf hanging down in between them and that leaf off to his right. It's a real easy fix. I just took 5 steps to the left. And now the leaves are offset and I get the eye contact, which I'm waiting for, and there's no leaf to bother me. It's a vertical shot with those tails, those long prehensile tails they have. But it's just fun to see all their cool and unique critters that we don't have, and then trying to get a little more habitat once in a while. So not everything's tight and close.
Oh, that's weird looking.
Isn't that something? Another one of those birds I saw in ornithology textbook and went, oh,
Wow.
wouldn't that be cool to see a boat-billed heron someday? And then the star of the show for me was having 10 minutes with these sloths. It's not because they move so fast I had 10 minutes. It's because they're so boring. They don't go anywhere or do anything. And we had to be somewhere. That was the downside. It's like, I want to go back. So we didn't get back for a couple hours and they moved on. But anyway, it only took 10 minutes. They're funny. These guys, you know, they go down once a week, climb down the tree and go poop. They have little insects that live in their fur that'll go down off of them into the poop, lay their eggs. The insects will lay their eggs in the sloth's poop, and they live in the sloth's fur. They are really cool critters. This is the three-toed sloth. Pretty easy to tell the difference between the two-toed. Fell in love with the sloths.
Posing for a portrait.
Howler monkeys. I just love that sound. Hopefully you could hear it.
Oh,
I get that look a lot. I have that effect on critters.
ooh, yuck.
Action,
did you-
interaction. This is allopreening, where the one monkey's picking bugs off the other monkey and the baby's just hanging on for dear life. This is a really unique bird called a flower piercer. And if you look at the top beak at the end, the sharp down hook, they hit the base of flowers and get the nectar out. So these fuchsias, you can see here's the male, and he's poking at the bottom of the fuchsia. And they pierce the flower with that beak and get the nectar out. Getting that shot of that storytelling was pretty exciting for me. Sometimes it's just a bird on a stick. You don't get the action, interaction, and all the other things. But when you have a golden-browed chlorophonia on a stick,
Pretty
man,
sweet.
something special.
Pretty.
What a beautiful bird.
Yeah.
I do have my 2 books if anybody's looking for Christmas presents to buy for somebody, or if you haven't gotten one of my books yet, you can get those on my website. And anybody that is interested in a book or contacting me on Instagram or Facebook, I know we're friends with a lot of you already. Feel free to contact me anytime. And thank you all so much for inviting me back to speak to the club.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was
Thank you.
awesome.
Yes, very much.
Thank you so much.
Makes me want me to go back to Yellowstone.
Yeah, let's make a trip.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Let's
Right.
go. I'll be ready. I'll be y'all ready.
Be ready in 5 minutes.
That's pretty quick. I don't even think
That's
I can do 5 minutes.
I'll
What we
charge
don't need, all we need is our camera gear.
Got my
Everything else
go
will
bag.
Jeff
Anybody
your
have questions or comments or?
Jeff, I wanted
You're-
to ask you at Katmai where you're doing the bears on the waterfalls. Are you surrounded by 300 photographers all the time when you're doing that, or?
Yeah, so one of the things about Katmai, it's a huge park and there's a lot of other places to go. I went to a couple other places, but the Katmai Falls, that actual famous waterfall spot, is
Yeah.
the really popular place, and they have a lot of people that go there on day trips, and they have a couple of cabins with 4 twin beds in them that people can rent, and they have a campground that you can set up your tent. And so it's very busy place. And one of the things that I was excited most about for summer 2021, because it was closed in 2020, was that they were limiting the amount of visitors. And so there would be less people there. And so that got me really motivated to try to get lottery. And so I was trying to get, you have to go online when they open it. Excuse me. And when they open the permitting date, whatever date it is, then you go online, and if you're the first one to, you know, get a cabin or get a campground, then you get it. Otherwise, you're out of luck. So I was fortunate enough to get a campground. I wanted to camp because I wanted to be there 24/7. So I spent 4 nights there. The day trippers get in somewhere between 8, 9 a.m. and they leave by 4, maybe 5. And of course, Alaska in the summer, you know, is a long day. So I had, you know, very few photographers around me in the morning and late in the evening. And I kind of avoided the popular places. So just to give you an overview, you land on an airplane or the boat, and everybody gets off at the same landing point, and the ranger greets you and gives you a bear talk. And there's, you know, a visitor center and the cabins and campgrounds off this way. And you walk about 1.5 miles from there up the trail to the waterfall. And they have boardwalk going across a couple water spots. And when you get to the waterfall, there's a boardwalk viewing platform. And when there's a lot of people there, they limit the time to 30 minutes. And I think I want to say 30 photographers at a time, or whatever it is on the platform. And then 30 minutes, the ranger makes you leave, and the next people waiting in line can go. And there's a secondary viewing platform below the falls that is a photo opportunity too. And that's where a lot of people can wait, and there is no time limit there. So to answer your question, when you get there, if you do a day, you're going to be surrounded by hundreds of people, and you'll be waiting to get out to that platform. If you are able to spend the night, either in one of those cabins or a campground, then you can go early morning and late evening and virtually have it to yourself. Okay, so we can do more questions as you have them. Should I jump into the contest?
If nobody else has questions or anything,
I've been saving them. Writing a list.
Fire away.
What equipment do you use?
I'm a Nikon shooter. So I shoot the D5, but I told you my 500 f4. And I'll probably be switching to mirrorless here pretty quickly. I'm what you call an old school photographer. And so my 80 to 200 started acting up in Costa Rica in June, and it was still working, but it was acting up. And then when I went to Alaska, it was really acting up. So when I got home from Alaska, I sent it into Nikon, and they said it's unfixable. So they're like forcing you to, you know, upgrade to the newest, next best thing, which is going to be mirrorless. So I use an 80 to 200, a 500 f4, and I have a wide angle zoom lens. Those are my 3 lenses.
And what will you switch to in mirrorless when you do?
Well, I'm kind of waiting for the Nikon Z9 to see what's going on there, and in hopes I don't have to switch and buy all new lenses and everything. 500 is quite expensive. So if I can use that on that body, then I would, and I'm happy with it, which I probably will be. It sounds like it should be a really good body. That'll probably go that direction. But a lot of people I'm seeing, a lot of my friends and a lot of people I see out in the field are using Sony and the Canon mirrorless now. And they're both, you know, very good, excellent quality. In fact, one of my buddies that I photograph with a lot, he has the Sony setup, and you know, he's talking about eye focus and focus where his eye is looking, and I'm back there with my thumb going like this, trying to, you know, maneuver it around, and he's like, it's like, oh, that sounds kind of nice.
Definitely. And how did you get into submitting to magazines?
Yeah, so magazine submitting back in the 80s, it was a different world back in those days. You know, we had to shoot film, and there was a smaller group of us that shot film well. And so you had to get in with the magazine. So it'd be similar to today. So you go to the magazine you think would be one your photos would work in, and your photos are as good or better than what you see in the magazine. And then you look online and you look for their photo guidelines. And all the magazines will have these photo guidelines telling you how to submit photos. And once you get in with a magazine and they like what they say, they'll put you on their want list. Their monthly, well, it used to be monthly. A lot of magazines aren't monthly anymore. They're every issue want list. So I get emails I've been getting for years from magazines. This is what we're doing, you know, like Ranger Rick, you know, we're doing sockeye salmon. So I don't know if that helps, but that's,
Yeah.
you know, go to the website, look at what they require, what their photo guidelines are, follow them to a T, and then, you know, just send them your best stuff. Don't send them anything off or you'll never get on their want list.
Okay.
One downfall, you know, in magazine that's happened over the years is things are going to digital magazines. And so the print magazines are thinner, less photos, less money. Some of the bird magazines I used to work with all the time are out of business. You know, it's really a tough time for magazines. But on the other hand, it's an opportunity for some of the digital publications. So look for those opportunities too.
Okay.
Besides just the magazine print. And if you have other questions, you can email me or ask me tonight too. Anybody that wants to, I answer emails usually within a day, unless I'm out of town, then it'd be a week or whatever. Anybody else?
I had a question, Jeff. Thank you.
Heather?
Your photos were spectacular as always.
Oh, thanks.
And, always amazing. Are you shooting your video straight in your camera?
Yeah.
The video.
Yeah. So the videos that you saw, I'm not editing videos yet, so I'm not cheating yet on my videos. And that's too bad because I have a lot of good ones that maybe has somebody talking in the back or a car driving by. But right now with the D5, I'm just locking it down. There's another reason to use a tripod. Can't shoot videos without locking it down, in my opinion. But if you have, you know, good stabilization, maybe you can. So I just, you know, get in the right situation and hit record and hold still and be quiet and hope I get lucky that there's some cool sounds. I don't know if you could hear the sounds on these, but some of the sounds, like the muskrat video, I really love the sound. You can hear the red-winged blackbird and the marsh. Those things are really special for me. So I'm just, yeah, shooting it like that, load it into Lightroom. And then if it's a good one that, you know, meets all those criteria like I showed tonight, then I'll just add it to a slideshow or submit it to a magazine, and online things now are using videos once in a while.
Okay. All
But
right.
I'm no
Thanks.
expert. Somebody else? Guess I was hearing things. Are you shooting many videos, Heather?
Yes,
Not
of
much.
the cell
Not
phone.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much. I think about it.
And the other thing, you know, about videos, you can get away with a little bit more with videos. But you have to be locked down. You can't have wind. I mean, it's hard to shoot good videos, but then again, you can shoot some photos. Like I have one, I added some of my Alaska bears at the end if we had more time, just in case we had more time. And in one of those videos, there's a shot of two cubs with the mother, and it wouldn't work for stills because there's like grass up growing in front of them, but it works really well for a video because you can see the grass moving, the bears breathing, but it would never be a still shot because there's all this grass in front of them. So you can kind of get away with what would not be a great still. It would be a pretty nice video.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank
I have
you.
a question. This is Jane.
Is
Jane.
there such a thing as a little bit of a shorter answer for, because I don't want to take too long,
Yeah.
how you set up file systems and find photos and
Yeah, I use Lightroom. Do you use Lightroom?
just learning?
Just learning. So I use Lightroom and I set it up by, and I am not the tech guy, but I set mine up by date. And then as I import them, I keyword them. And so it's kind of cool because like from Grand Teton with the grizzly bear, for example, before I import, I fill in a bunch of keywords and I put the date and I put the, grizzly bear and everything else, Grand Teton National Park, whatever. And then I upload things. And then I just have a giant library of keyworded photos. So like a couple days ago, somebody asked to buy a bald eagle. So I just went into Lightroom, searched bald eagle, and there's, thousands of bald eagles and I weaned them out that way. So I don't do like folders other than by date. So my folders are annual folders. So I'll set up 2021 and on my hard drive, and inside the 2021 folder, there's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I'm not sure why I do that, but that's how I organize it in the hard drive. And then in Lightroom, it doesn't really care. If it's keyworded, I can find it by searching through keyword.
Okay, thank you.
Not a very short answer. All right, anybody else, or should we go into these fabulous photos? I love this photo of the great blue heron and the fish and the water dropping off and the wings.
We have
Like
to
everything
see
we
them.
talked about.
Wait a minute, where are you?
Are you sharing my screen?
It's still on your slideshow, so
Oh, I switched over. What do I have to do here to get?
There you go.
Well, that's
Your
me.
point.
That's all of us.
See here. So let me go back to share screen and see if I have to reshare with just the slideshow. Yeah, that's what I have to do. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure what you've been watching the whole
There
time.
we go.
I'm watching this. Are you watching the heron?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you for telling me.
And thank you for judging. We appreciate that.
Yeah. I've had many tomatoes thrown my way and they were rotten. As you know, judging is not an easy thing. I don't know how many of you have done it, and I've entered contests and judges, don't like things. And so everybody's different and it's hard to know, what the one judge thinks is good. So this is an extremely difficult thing, and you're welcome. And I'm happy to do it. And this great blue heron, all the action and everything, that's my favorite part of that picture. Let's see if I can, okay, I guess I'll do that. This is kind of fun. The turkeys in the drinking fountain. I love how there's one on the ground and then the two up in the water fountain. Tells a story. We talked about telling stories. The egret with the fish. This does, nice reflection with the fish coming out of his mouth. I was trying to identify the vegetation in the back. Big
It's
on
at the-
backgrounds. I love the action here. The eagle ripping apart that could be a snow goose or some kind of a waterfowl. And the turkey vultures and that raven waiting their turn. What a great shot. And when they're pulling like that, and their wings come back and anticipating that peak action, sometimes their wings will come back even farther. Cute little guys, gold mantled ground squirrel. One thing that I would say when I'm composing a shot, if the animals look, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
When the animal's looking, to the left here in this case, I want this extra space here to be in front of it.
Mhm.
So when I'm composing a photo, I'm going to try to add that dead space, if you will, to here. So I'd try to move the camera so that is more in front of him. It's just kind of one of those compositional things to think about.
Can I
like
say
little
something here?
birds and leaving room in front of the animal or the animal's
I
gaze.
think
Excuse me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sylvia.
So this is Sylvia, and
Hi.
I'll give it away. That's my photo.
Oh,
And
no.
I know it's cropped badly, but Dan's hand was in there. He had given it the peanut, and I thought, well, the hand was distracting.
Right. And so that happens a lot. I mean, there's distracting things that we got to crop out. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. And
I could have chopped off his hand, I suppose.
Or maybe the hand would have told a story.
I don't know if you're hearing him.
well, if it's Dan's hand, it probably would have been winning the award here, because didn't you win last time I judged, Sylvia?
Yeah, I did. So
Okay.
With
what can I
Photoshop,
say?
with Photoshop, you can extend that left side though, that left background.
Well, maybe my hand would have, feeding it would have been tell more of a story.
It definitely would have told the story. There's no doubt about it. And again,
Yeah,
it's
that's for sure.
not, it is what it is. It happens. And there's always a good reason. I'm just telling you something I'm looking for. And in this case, maybe you couldn't have done it. Maybe what I would have done is I might have grabbed this corner here and cropped up a little bit to cut a little more of this side off and still keep his feet in, and tried to crop in. That maybe is how I would have dealt with that. This photo, to me, and I don't think we're supposed to tell who you are yet, are we?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's not going to matter to me because I've
We
already.
all know who this one is anyways.
Okay. And I don't, but it won't matter even if I did. But anyway, this one to me, I just love the crispness. I mean, look at that. There's just something about it where it just like glows. I love the backlit flowers. I love how the flowers are kind of, and the leaves are kind of creating this frame, if you will, around it. And the bird is spectacular, our state bird. It's as sharp as a tack. Really pretty. I love it. This one, I don't know. Maybe we ought to identify you. This is what I would call alligator lizard porn. Not sure that your group is quite ready for this, but I don't know. This is a great action shot. But I think, they're more entwined in a love tangle than a fight. And look at this curl. Isn't that a fun line to follow? Nicely done with that. Speaking of Yellowstone or somewhere where there's moose in fall colors. Wonderful. Now, when I was in ornithology in the 80s, this was a white-tailed kite. And then they changed the name, like they love to change bird names, black-shouldered kite. And they've now changed it back to white. So it's come full circle.
How funny.
I love the picture, another great picture. I love the angle. I love diagonals. And I love how the angle's pretty much going from corner to corner. Look at those eyes staring right at you. And the only negative is this branch. But again, it's like Dan's hand. Sometimes there's nothing we can do about it. But if that wasn't there, that would be one I would be quite wishing I had. And I kind of wish I had this one. I love the background, kind of fuzzed out, and how he's leaning into the blue sky. Really well done. I like it. Another one of my favorites that you guys have shared. I love the composition. Again, this triangle shape here from corner to corner. You highlighted the bug's more beautiful side. Look at those colors. I love it. The one thing I'd like to see was a little more brightness, but maybe it's my computer. Easy fix. Spectacular. I love it. And look at the crop too. That's a square crop, which is kind of unique. It's fun. I think it's fun. That's another fun thing about cropping, is getting different shapes, and doesn't always have to be that 35 millimeter triangle. I love this square. Song sparrow on the branch. Another spectacular action shot. Talk about action. Look at that. No, there's a fight. The other thing, I like a lot about this photo, but one of the other things I like about it is it has excuse me, a number of age classes.
Mhm.
Adult, over 5 years old. Here's one that's, 3.5 to 4.5. There's a fairly new one of the year, last year maybe. That's pretty cool. Look at that. I love it. Gotta love great horned owls, any kind of owl. Just anytime you get the eyes open, it really adds to it. And I think they're Canada geese going away from me. I'm not a butt shot fan. I like seeing faces. Just me personally, I'm the judge. I mean, it's not a good picture. I do love how the wings are down, the wings are up, the wings are kind of up, and just the pattern here, how they're all different. And I like the crop job here too. And who knows why, we crop the way we crop. But in this case, it's different than the 35 millimeter rectangle. It's fantastic action. Pulling a fish up off the log, clip the wing. It happens. It's like, it happens to all of us. Now this one's funny. I like this one because of the humor. He's standing on a rooster. There's just something funny about that. I love it. He's a cool gray squirrel. That's another one of my favorites. A little bit on the dark side, but again, that's, everybody's computer is different, so it's an easy fix. Beautiful elk. And then a beautiful great gray owl. They are spectacular animals. Okay, so what do I do now?
So we usually tell
Can I go
third
home?
and
Can I go home
second.
now? Do I have to pick?
We usually tell third and then second and then first, and then we go back through them and have everybody say which one was theirs.
And then you have your crowd favorite or whatever everybody
Yeah.
voted on.
Yeah.
Well, I would kind of like to do a first, second, and a tie for third. And
That's
I don't even know if that's legal. Do you give like awards or ribbons or?
That's legal.
Bragging rights.
Because we used to have ribbons, and so there was only so many I could give out or something. All right, so third, I'd really like to do a tie for third between 3 pictures, and they're all for different reasons, and they're all really good. So I want this one to be third because it's funny. I like the humor. I like the composition. I love the squirrel's pose holding the nut and Dan's hand's not in it. I like that to tie with this one for third.
Which one? Where you at?
Well,
Number 12. And this one. So they're all really good pictures. I like them all for different reasons. I think this is my second place favorite. This is really a nice shot. I wish I had it. It would have been first if that branch wasn't there, but gosh, that's being picky, Jeff. And then I'm giving first place. I love that. I'm giving this one first. It's just, I look at this and I just go, wow, that is just like, that is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That's what I look for. I mean, the lighting, the light, the color, that is a gorgeous shot.
That's
So I'm giving
going in
that
the
one.
Think Pink calendar too.
What's that?
That's going in the Think Pink calendar too for this month, for this year.
And it should.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. That was such a pretty shot.
And who's talking?
Lisa,
Oh, great. Congratulations, Lisa.
thank you.
well done, Lisa.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Is that yours, Lisa?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Ron,
Very nice.
thank you.
It is nice.
Congratulations, Lisa.
In your
Thank you. It
backyard?
made it in finally into the box.
Is it from your backyard?
Yes.
Wow.
You have a feeder?
Very nice.
I've got feeders, but that wasn't where he was. He was there. His little females were floating around and he was standing guard.
A sentinel.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. And they come in your yard.
Yep.
They come to feeders. You can add perches, fixed backgrounds, but you've got it dialed in pretty well right where he is. So that came
Thank
out
you.
good.
That's a piece of wood from the car fire too.
Really
Yeah.
little piece of oak.
Yep.
Okay, so if you can go back to your second place choice.
It was,
Number 9.
Yeah. Whose is
I
that?
don't know. I
that's
don't
it,
know.
Debbie?
If she-
Sharon Barker's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what that reminds me of? That looks like an English hitman. It's got kind of the look on that bird. It's got the rodent in its claws. It's just like, you wouldn't want to mess with that bird.
You don't want to mess with it.
And
And
this
who's is
was
the person
taken-
here tonight?
She's
No.
not here tonight, but this was taken at Sacramento Refuge. This kite was there for several months. And you could usually find it hunting right towards the beginning of the auto tour route at Sac Refuge.
Yeah, that is pretty spectacular. And he's got the little rodent in his claws. That's fantastic. That would have beat the quail just because the action to it, but I told you why it didn't. And then tie for third, number 10.
I like that.
That one was mine.
That's
And
beautiful.
That was cool, Debbie.
Yeah.
I
very
knew I
pretty.
couldn't compete with the Eagles, so I decided to be different and do a bug.
It's beautiful.
It is. Is that in your yard?
It is, and it was also, it was for one of the 52 frames challenges for small aperture. And so it was shot at like 1.8 or 2.0, something like that.
Wow.
Mm.
I don't believe I've ever seen that bug.
Yeah.
I have
Beautiful.
lots of them.
Yeah, well, keep working at them. Yeah, that's spectacular. Yeah, congratulations. And then the tie for third was this amazing action shot.
That was me, Jane, up in Ketchikan, Alaska.
Nice. You got some good ones from that
Really?
trip.
It was a wonderful trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love it.
And
Kind of
then
like
your third one,
bears.
number 16.
You just never get tired of eagles either. Yeah, number 16. I just love. It's just funny. And we got to have fun.
Who's that?
We got to enjoy ourselves. We got to do different things, something unique. 15 years ago, I would have said, yeah, it's got the man-made rooster in there, and there's a little cement border back there. But today, I have a little different take on things, and so I like it because
Who did that?
I did, and I submitted it because that squirrel was just hilarious.
Lana,
Yes,
congratulations. Yeah, great.
thank you.
Yeah, he is hilarious. I mean, it comes out in the picture, right? Yeah. And unfortunately, not everybody could be winners. Pictures. That was technically really, really nice as well. Great stuff, guys.
You go back to the beginning and so we can find out who the other ones are.
Oh, okay. Number 1, the great blue heron.
I'm not
That
sure.
was That was Bob Duffy's.
It's Bob Duffy.
Oh,
I love the water drops coming off of it.
The rusty shoulders show up, elbows show up. It's kind of neat. Number 2.
Yeah, that's mine, Dan's.
Yay. Is this in your yard?
Yeah, that's in my yard. Yeah, they come all the time through the property, and certain time in the late afternoon, they always like to come up and get some water.
Oh, I'll bet, especially in Reading.
Yeah, I got some too with some babies, when they were babies too, with mother with the baby sitting on there one time. That one actually made the record Searchlight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you didn't enter that one tonight.
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. It's just the first one I found, and they were grown. I don't know. Just the one I picked.
Yeah, sounds good. And that's a great way to attract animals in Reading. Birds in your yard is water, as well as food, especially in the summer.
That one is mine.
Vicky,
Yes.
congratulations. Nice shot. Where'd you take
Thank you.
that one?
That was taken at the refuge,
Which refuge?
the Sacramento Wildlife Refuge out of Willows.
Yeah. It almost looks like could have been in the tropics.
I know.
That's neat. And what a great catch with the fish. And the reflection.
Yeah.
Is that how it looked?
Yeah.
With that little look at that zigzag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice shot. It's
Well,
really
it had its head in the water. When it lifted its head, it had that fish in there, and I was shocked. And I watched it swallow it whole, which was very strange to watch it. You can see it go down its neck.
Did you see it wiggle?
Yes.
It's pretty
It's kind
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done. That's the kind of stuff we're after. So good work.
Thank you.
That's John.
John's not here. Oh,
I'm-
John is here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Nice.
So-
Is this from Klamath?
No, it's down at the refuge. It was about March or April. I can't remember for sure, but it was drying up. And which you don't know, that's a goose that he's got there. And before this, he had to take off, I don't know how many times, and take it with him and get these vultures off of him. And across the water there, you don't know it, but there's like 20 geese over there with juveniles, and they're watching the whole thing.
Isn't that crazy? So Sacramento Refuge again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good refuge. It's only about an hour from Reading.
Yeah.
And it's got all kinds of photo opportunities. Yeah, I like it. We know whose this one is.
Dan's.
Another cute shot. That's a cute one. But that's not your front yard.
No, that was going up to Brokoff Mountain, and that little guy, you can see how fat he is. He ran out onto the trail basically to hold us up for food.
Yeah. He saw the unsuspecting tourist.
Well, he knew his routine really well. So Dan fed him some nuts and he ate them. And then when we came back down the trail, he ran out again. He wanted more. So I'm sure he hit up everybody because you can see how round he is. I mean, he looks like Alvin.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they're fun to photograph and watch for sure.
This one is Mike Andrews' picture. It was taken out somewhere by Shasta College. He was out there with his son taking a walk and happened across these guys. So
Pretty cool. Wonderful behavior.
I like this one.
this one is Suzanne Chisholm's. She was just in Yellowstone a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Fall colors are going already 2 weeks ago.
And this was out Grovan, out by that campground. out there. They
In
went
Grand
there.
Teton.
Yeah.
Now here's a case where, you crop off the rear end a little bit, but with these bushes coming up out of focus, it doesn't matter. So for me, anyway, when I'm looking at a picture like this, or I'm composing a picture like this, and I see the out of focus fuzzy stuff, I know that's basically the end of the picture. So cropping this off, really you don't notice. So that doesn't actually bother me in that case.
That's mine, Pat Clark.
Nice job, Pat.
That was taken at Arcata Marsh.
Oh yeah, okay. Song Sparrow Beauty. I love this toenail hanging
Yeah.
down right here.
Mhm.
Isn't that something?
That one's mine, Rick. It's down at Sac Refuge down by Willows. And we sat there for a long time waiting for the damn thing to wake up, but it never did. So,
They do like to sleep in the day.
yeah. And I had tried to use my autofocus and it just wasn't working. So this was a manual focus and I managed to get it pretty sharp. It was
Yeah.
in one of the willow trees out there in the middle of the pond like they usually are.
Right. Yeah, he looks really sharp. But yeah, they do like to sleep in the day.
I don't know if she's here. This is Susan Tangemans.
No, she's not here, I don't think.
She's not here tonight.
She flew away like her geese.
Yeah. And she said she knew it wasn't great, but she just wanted to participate, and we appreciate that.
We do
She is
appreciate
so
it.
creative in so many ways, but
Oh, yeah.
wildlife is not her big thing. So
Yeah. And I
We'll
love
just have to
the
change
the
that,
line
aren't we, Debbie?
she created. This line here is nice. All right, Heather, what's the score in the game?
6-2, the Red Sox win.
Oh, it's over.
No,
Congratulations. So they're moving on.
that's, you can't believe, that's terrible.
Thank
Thank you.
Is
so
this
much.
Jane again or somebody else getting eagle shots?
This me. This Michelle.
Oh, hi. Congratulations.
Hi. Lisa and I went to Yellowstone the first part of this summer in the spring, and this was at Coulter Bay. We just happened to see this eagle out on the beach, and it was just standing there really weird. And then it jumped in the water and it started swimming. And then it jumped out of the water with his fish, and it was just all so fast. And I had a long lens on, and there was no way to get it all in there.
That is a fantastic shot.
Thank you.
So is that pretty much full frame then? You couldn't get them all in there?
Nope, couldn't get them all in there.
Wow. Yeah, he's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was real close.
Yeah,
We had a great
it's
series.
I mean, I have to pick photos, and this was in the running for sure. I love it. So do you know Mike Cheeseman?
Mike, yeah, my husband.
Is he like used to be a highway patrol or still
He
is?
still is, yeah.
Oh,
Did he
well,
get
he was
you a
my
ticket?
neighbor. He was my neighbor growing up.
Oh, well, you want me to bring him in here? Say hello?
Well, if he wants, but you can definitely tell him Jeff said hi. We were neighbors.
Oh, let me grab him.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike. Can you come in here real quick?
17.
You say hi to someone.
this one is Doug Davis's.
Asked about you.
Yeah, this is another great shot. Doug's not here tonight.
No.
He doesn't do it online.
Can't blame him.
This one belongs
Must
to
be
Ollie.
Heather.
Heather?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. Where
Yeah, we need to make another trip up there.
Outside of Ashland, up in the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Beautiful.
lot of them up there.
Over right here.
Prairie.
There's Jen.
Howard Prairie.
Up in Howard Prairie.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that Mike Cheeseman?
That's him.
Hi, Mike.
We were neighbors back on Forest Hills.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
It's been a long, 50 years?
It's been a really long time.
Yeah. Are you doing photography too?
Oh, no, I stay away from that. I leave that up to the experts.
Oh,
Well, I just wanted to say hi anyway. Good to see you,
Well,
man.
Good to see you. What happened to your brother, Pat?
He is working in Abu Dhabi.
No kidding.
He's a principal in an international school.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So he's doing
That's
really well.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it was great to see you.
Okay.
Looking
I
forward to
was
your talk.
wondering about that. Yeah. Good to see you. Sorry, guys. I just had to,
It's okay.
your neighbor growing up. Come on.
If you'd like to go back to number 12 for just a minute.
I would love to.
This was our People's Choice winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good
Jane.
job, Jane.
Good job, Jane. That's a
We're
good
far off
one.
for our choices though, because Lisa's picture was a close second to this, so.
Okay.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
And did you
Oh,
guys do
Jade.
did you guys do a third place?
No, not for People's Choice. We just do the first place.
Well, good. I'm glad to know I was in the ballpark. Then I got two of them right.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, it was a really good group of pictures. You guys
Yeah, it
have done
was.
yourselves proud again. And I posted this on our open site and got some comments from people, and I think a new member too, who saw this and wanted to join in with people who can take pictures like this. So
Yeah, and I'll say, a lot of the Facebook people I see in the club, you guys are doing great work. So it's fun to look at it and keep it up.
yeah. Well, Jeff, we really appreciate all your
Yeah.
time tonight and your wonderful talents. And I love seeing your pictures on Facebook and look forward to every trip you take.
Well, thanks again. And it's always nice to visit.
Our tour guides.
Yeah.
Thank
Where
you
are
so
you
much.
going next?
Where am I going?
Yeah, yeah, where's your next trip?
Well, I'm hoping to go to Japan in February. It's not looking too good, not doing too well. But between now and then, I'll probably be hanging around Southern Oregon, Northern California. Don't have anything set in concrete at the moment.
Well, we'll be looking forward to more great pictures from you.
Right.
Well, if you're around here, we'd all love to go shoot with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, definitely. It's fun to have somebody to go with.
Mhm. We've got Uber.
Yeah.
CHP Uber.
That's right. We got Ubers.
Uber drivers.
Yep.
Well, Ron is recording this, so I assume it's okay with you, Jeff, if it gets posted on our Facebook group for our members that couldn't be here tonight, so they can still see your work and
Sure.
hear about your trips and stuff.
Sure, that's fine.
Hey, Jeff, could you exit out
I can.
of your, stop sharing your screen?
You
There.
bet.
Okay.
Yeah, you notice I didn't remember to start recording right away. Lisa forgot.
You
to-
got it.
I
forgot
told
to
Debbie.
remind me.
Yeah, I had a
told
little
Debbie.
message a few slides in saying you are being recorded now.
Yeah.
It was pretty fast, though.
Yeah.
So our scavenger hunt is on for those of you that are signed up for that. Hope that it's working out well for you. We have 6 teams this time and we're looking forward to those entries. They'll be judged at our next meeting by Frank Tona. And our speaker next time is going to be actually one of our members, Francesca Toll, and she's going to present a short thing on working with models and exotics. And then those that are interested are going to be able to sign up for a workshop with her models and the wolf, I believe.
So is this animal models or human models?
Humans with exotic animals is her specialty.
Oh, wow.
And so she does a lot with models with, she has a wolf and big snakes and exotic birds and things like that that she does. She's kind of specialized. So that should be interesting next time. So we'll have our scavenger hunt and that. And then we're also going to be soliciting ideas for themes for next year. So if anyone has ideas for ideas of themes, you can let us know. But I think that's about all we have for this evening, and just want to thank you again, Jeff, for a great presentation tonight. Thanks so much.
You're
Very
welcome.
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, that
Well,
reminds me of the
guys
view.
soon.